This is your only warning. Turn back now or listen at your own risk. Welcome to Scary Stories You Shouldn't Hear. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more before it's too late. It started with a wrong turn in a half-abandoned shopping mall. The kind with dead air and flickering fluorescence, where every other store is shuttered behind rusting gates. I was supposed to meet a friend near the food court, but I took the wrong escalator and ended up on a level that wasn't on the mall directory. No stores, no signs, just long yellow corridors lined with stained carpet and buzzing lights. It felt like a construction zone that had been forgotten mid-project. I figured I could cut through and loop back, but 5 minutes in I realized I was walking in circles. Same hallway. I tried calling my friend. No service. I tried to retrace my steps. Doors that were open before were now sealed shut. I ran. Eventually I found a security office. It was empty, but the monitors were still on. Every screen showed a different hallway. My hallway. From angles I couldn't see. In one I was standing still staring at nothing, in another I was moving even though I hadn't budged. Then on the bottom right monitor, I wasn't alone. Something was behind me. I spun around. Nothing, but the buzzing lights began to flicker more violently. I heard footsteps echoing, not from any direction I could place, just everywhere. I kept moving, desperate, trying door after door. Most were locked, some led to broom closets or windowless offices, but one opened to a food court. Relief hit me until I realized it wasn't the same food court. The restaurants were all wrong. Obsolete chains I hadn't seen since childhood, logos that were slightly off. And everyone inside sat perfectly still, unmoving, eyes fixed on me. I backed away slowly. One of them stood up, and when they turned, their face wasn't finished. Just skin stretched over bone. No eyes. No mouth. They moved like they were remembering how. I ran again. The corridors twisted more now, like the layout was reacting to me. The floor dipped in places where it hadn't before. Gravity bent sideways. The walls pulsed. On what felt like day 3, but could have been minutes, I found a fire exit. I flung it open and tumbled into sunlight. Parking lot. Normal people. Cars. I cried. I made it back home, but something followed. In my apartment, the hallway is longer. The mirror in my bathroom shows a version of me that sometimes moves out of sync. My phone rings at 3:33 a.m. and no one speaks, just static and the buzzing of fluorescent lights. I've been back to the mall. It's gone. Bulldozed. They said it was condemned 2 years ago. But I still find yellow corridors in places they don't belong. Behind dressing rooms, inside freight elevators, even once in a subway tunnel. It isn't about where I was. It's about what noticed me. It doesn't want me back. It wants me to bring others. Everyone warned me about apartment 3B. Tenants moved in and vanished. Every single one. Within 11 days. No bodies, no signs of struggle. Just gone. Some chalked it up to urban legend, a creepy coincidence. But I needed more than stories. As the new property manager, I had to know what was really happening. So I did something no one else dared. I moved in myself. Figured if anyone could outlast the curse, it was me. The first night was eerily normal. Too normal. No creaks, no flickering lights, not even noisy neighbors. It felt like the apartment was holding its breath, waiting. The second night, I noticed something off. The hallway seemed longer, not by much, just a few steps extra. I brushed it off as stress, the mind playing tricks. But the next morning, there were 2 hallway closets instead of 1. I actually laughed, thought maybe I just hadn't paid attention before. By the 5th day, laughing stopped being an option. A door had appeared in the bathroom wall, exactly where there shouldn't be one. No knob, no frame, just a rectangle outlined in rot, like the wall itself was trying to fester open. I asked maintenance about it. The guy went pale, didn't even try to hide it. All he said was, 3B's doing its thing again. That night, I dreamed of screams. Not faces, not people, just screams. Raw, echoing, endless. I jolted awake to knocking. Not on the door, from inside the walls. A slow, deliberate knock, like someone testing their way through plaster. On day 7, I counted 4 new doors. None of them had been there when I moved in. One led to a staircase, narrow and steep, ending in a dead wall, with more doors. I checked the building's blueprints. There were no hidden rooms, no sealed-off staircases. I brought in a contractor to verify. He laughed, thought it was some trick until he opened one of the doors and stepped through. I never saw him again. When the cops showed up, the extra door was gone. Just clean wall, no evidence, no explanation. Just me, looking like a lunatic in apartment 3B. By day 10, the apartment wouldn't let me leave. Every time I stepped out, I'd end up back in the living room. I'd try the stairs, the fire escape, even the garbage chute. It all looped. My phone started calling numbers I never dialed. The voices that answered, they weren't human. Whispers filled the apartment, not from any speaker, but from behind the walls. They begged, they warned, they promised freedom if I listened. On the 11th day, something changed. I snapped. I hurled a chair through the living room window and climbed out. I ran until my lungs burned, until the cold night air filled me with something close to hope. Behind me, the building disappeared into the dark. I made it to the nearest police station, shaking and wild-eyed. They let me talk. Too calmly. Too politely. Then I stepped back outside. And the city was wrong. The streets were too quiet. The people too slow, too smooth, like they were moving through thick air. Their eyes didn't blink, their mouths didn't move. I turned onto the next block and stopped. My blood went cold. Every building, every doorway, every mailbox had the same number carved into it. 3B. Over and over, etched into glass, metal, stone. I didn't escape. I stepped deeper in. The apartment didn't want to trap me. It wanted to spread. It started as an ordinary maintenance request. I was a night shift building engineer in a corporate high-rise downtown. Around 3:12 a.m., I got a report that elevator 6 was stuck between floors. No passengers, just a malfunction alert from the system. When I got down to the sub-basement to check the control panel, I noticed something weird. Elevator 6 wasn't listed. There were only 5 elevators in the building, always had been. I thought maybe it was a glitch or mislabeled report, but when I walked to the elevator bank, sure enough, there was a 6th elevator. It looked older, dirtier, like it hadn't been cleaned in years. The floor display above it didn't have numbers, just a pulsing amber light. The doors slid open as I approached. Empty car. No music, no voice prompts. Just cold, humming silence. I should have called it in, should have logged it and walked away. But I stepped in. The panel inside had no labeled buttons, just a single black one. I pressed it. The doors closed. No motion. Just a deep, shuddering vibration, like the entire shaft was inhaling. Then the elevator dropped. Not smoothly, not with gravity. It felt like falling through fabric, like the world had unzipped. When the doors finally opened, I expected the lobby, or maybe a sub-basement, but it wasn't any floor in our building. The hallway outside was wrong. Endless gray carpet, dim yellow lights, and the low hum of electricity with no source. The walls stretched far too long, and the air smelled like dust and moldy plastic. I stepped out, calling out. My voice echoed too far, like the space around me wasn't built to reflect sound properly. I turned around. The elevator was gone. I walked, turned corners, marked walls with my keys. No help. The markings would vanish when I passed again. Sometimes I'd hear things, not voices, just responses, like something was listening, adjusting. Lights would flicker in patterns. The carpet beneath my feet was always damp, though there was no water source. I started passing office doors. None of them opened. Some had names that were gibberish or glitched fonts. Through the frosted glass I could sometimes see movement, figures pacing, watching. One door was cracked open. Inside was a conference room with walls that pulsed like lungs. I ran. I screamed. I begged. I found a stairwell and took it for what felt like hours. The stairs only led deeper. I passed a window at one point, only to see another me walking down the same staircase on the outside of the building. He didn't look up, just kept descending. Eventually, I found a break room. Rotten vending machines, mold-covered coffee mugs, a TV that flickered static until it showed my apartment. I watched myself sleeping. Then I blinked and the screen went black. I don't know how long I was down there. I stopped feeling time. The air never changed. There was no night or day. I kept moving. I had to. Sometimes I'd find old ID badges on the floor, names I didn't recognize. All expired decades ago. And the farther I went, the less the space felt like an office. The walls grew narrower, the lights dimmer, whispers louder. Until finally, I found an elevator. Not the same one. This one was rusted, its doors pried half open. Inside, a single flickering light and a mirror. I climbed in. It began to rise. And rise. And rise. The doors opened. I was in the lobby. Daylight, people, noise. I stumbled out, dirty, shaking. No one noticed. I ran to security, asked about elevator 6. They checked. There never was an elevator 6. Just 5. Always had been. I tried to go back down later. Nothing. No extra elevator, no sub-basement access. It was like it had opened for me once. Just once. And now, I wait. Every time I see an elevator, I look twice, listen for that hum. Because one day, it'll call again. And this time, I don't think it'll let me leave. If you've made it this far, maybe you were meant to hear it. This was Scary Stories You Shouldn't Hear. If these stories found you tonight, let them find you again. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more. If you dare. Subscribe.